Hey everybody, what is up? My name is Martin and welcome to my YouTube channel, AAA Digest. So I'm back with another facts video, and this one revolves around CD Projekt Red's next upcoming title, Cyberpunk 2077. And no BS, let's get right to it. Over 100 facts, all the small details I could personally find. And disclaimer, some things will be missed. I don't do this professionally, just for fun, so here we go. Number 1, the protagonist. So the game's leading protagonist is called V, a mercenary who has only recently arrived in Night City. He or she is 23 years old and is aiming to make it big in Night City, although her initial reasons for relocating to Night City can be defined by the player. Number 2, in CD Projekt Red, we trust. So the game is being developed by fan favourite CD Projekt Red, known for the Witcher series, and in particular 2015's Game of the Year, The Witcher 3. And Cyberpunk was first announced in late 2012 with a cinematic trailer, then released early 2013. And in 2018, a new studio was opened in Wrocław, Poland to assist in the development of Cyberpunk 2077. Number 3, character customization. So we will be able to fully customize our character from the face, body, clothing, and I'll give a rundown of all the options. So we got birth record, which lets you select your gender. You can be either male or female. And then we move on to background check, in which you form your character's history and identity to some extent by selecting your childhood hero, choosing between characters from the original pen and paper RPG Cyberpunk 2020, and they are Samurai Rocker Boy Johnny Silverhand, Solo of Fortune Morgan Blackhand, and the corporate god Saburo Arasaka. And then number 5, we get a key life event, which will help define who your V is and what they've been through in their life. With the first one being a death of a sibling, you either ran away from home, and finally, your first big kill. Number 6, why Night City? And finally, we'll get to choose V's initial reason for being in Night City in the first place. For either some unfinished business, an ex-lover is in town, or she simply has something to prove. Number 7, character creation impacts the story. So this history for V will influence your story to some extent, with some references to your choices during the narrative with some unique dialogue paths. Furthermore, it will unlock different side quests and potential characters, allowing for the, first hint of replayability from this game, which there is a lot. Number 8, biometric scan. So we'll be able to fully modify V's face, hair, scars, body, and more, alongside a selection of presets or more advanced detailing to scale the face. So who's going to spend hours on customizing their character? This guy. Number 9, the appearance tab. So this allows us to modify V's style, clothing, makeup, and piercings, her or his overall aesthetic. Number 10, and finally, we have biostats. So you have 25 skill points to choose from at the beginning of the game, which we'll be able to assign into 6 different categories, which are then acquired throughout the game via leveling. So through completing missions, killing enemies, V will gain XP and level up naturally. Number 11, street cred. So this is a type of experience players may acquire. It's how your in-game reputation will be measured. It's increased through side quests and helping fixers, and it unlocks higher level connections, missions, vendors, and fixers around Night City that give out more dangerous jobs, yet offer more profitable rewards. Mike Pondsmith. So the world is based on Mike Pondsmith's 2020 pen and paper game, and Mike is helping CD Projekt Red stay true to the genre's true meaning and what Cyberpunk is meant to represent. Number 13, upgrading our character. So there are skills, perks, attributes, and cyberware that can all be used to develop your character and mold them into the build that you want. Number 14, the first being attributes such as reflexes, strength, constitution, intelligence, tech, and cool are all improved by the use of installing specific cyberware and leveling your character naturally through completing missions. And number 15, we have skills, and they are raised by successfully performing actions like hacking, crafting, the use of shotguns or long guns, etc. So the more you use small guns, the more you'll improve that particular skill. Although skills can be gated by attributes, so a certain attribute level is needed to gain a special skill. As an example, you'll need to have a level 9 in reflexes to select a specific skill. Number 16, perks. So perks are unlocked with both street cred and XP. Number 17, a fluid class system. So Cyberpunk will feature a fluid class system where V can mix and match between multiple skill trees. So you don't have to dedicate yourself to the one skill tree unless you want to. The confirmed classes so far are as follows. Number 18, Netrunner. These are elite hackers who prefer a stealthy approach to dealing with targets. The Netrunner can gain access to many different things, open and lock doors, hack into security and encryption, and hack into a network of targets to gain further information, and even disable their weapons, causing them to jam. Number 19, Techie. So these are basically engineers who are able to build and use a variety of different weapons, gear, and items to augment their playstyle, and they are capable of sabotaging just about anything, and they specialize in crafting with the use of drones and turrets and so on. Number 20, Solo. So these are mercenaries or hitmen who've got an extra edge in combat. They are strong and fast and the most capable fighters in Cyberpunk. You can build towards being a fast and agile Solo, bouncing off walls and gaining the ability to double jump, or focus more towards being a strong tank build who uses heavy weapons. It's all personal choice. Number 21, classes can affect dialogue. So if you happen to build your character to be a Netrunner, then V will have very specific knowledge that unlocks additional conversation options. So you may have some unique dialogue options if she or he is talking to another Netrunner. Number 22, V can be hacked. So similar to how we hack into a majority of the systems, security, faction networks available, V can also be hacked into, which will play a major role in the story. During the gameplay demo, we see an example of a lie detector program being implanted into her personal link, courtesy of corporation agent Meredith Stout, who's oddly sexy in a mean way. Number 23, crafting. So the game will have a crafting system. Specific perks and a techie build will ensure that better equipment can be created by V. Yet how in-depth this system is remains to be seen. Number 24, the Codex. So similar to The Witcher 3, Cyberpunk will offer the player an in-depth codex that gives detailed information regarding specific characters, factions, corporations, districts, the world of Cyberpunk in general. Number 25, Inspector V. So inspecting items is also a possibility. It will give you the name and type of item with a detailed description of its purpose and even its individual components. Number 26, first person. So the game will be played in first person. CD Projekt Red believe the first person perspective brings a personal feel to the game, and they decided to use first person for narrative reasons, and it also perfectly showcases the sheer scale and detail of Night City. Number 27, Can You See Me Now? Now during key cinematic moments in the story, you can expect to see your V character on screen. So for those of you who are thinking, what's the point of having a character creator if you can't see your actual character? Then don't. You will see V during important moments in the story. Also through the inventory system, you'll view your character too. Number 28, driving has different camera options. So third person mode alongside first person will be an option for the player in regards to driving vehicles. Number 29, Night City. So the game takes place during the year 2077 in Night City, a coastal metropolis in a fictional setting, obviously, in the free state of Northern California on the west coast of the United States, in which the federal government has fallen and large corporations dominate and are guarded by elite security forces. Behind Night City's walls live those lucky enough to work for the corporations. Outside those walls, chaos reigns, and the line between meat and machine is no longer clear, as augmentations and cybernetics rule. Number 30, the city's name. So the city is named after Richard Knight, a businessman who invented the concept of the city itself, and it has been voted the worst place to live in America, and it's the central location in the pen and paper RPG series Cyberpunk 2013, 2020, and V 3.0, so it has major history. Number 31, so Night City will have a day and night cycle, which are like two different worlds that pose their own unique threats and opportunities to the player. 32, districts. So there are 6 different districts in Night City. Each will bring their own feel, individual environments and aesthetic, and the first one we have is the city's center. It's Night City's biggest pride and is home to large corporations, massive skyscrapers, and represents a prime example of class and luxury. And then we have Pacifica, otherwise known as the combat zone, dominated by violence and criminals, and this district serves as the city's slums. And then we move on to Westbrook, being the financial district, and is the home to Night City's most powerful and rich, featuring Japantown, which attracts many tourists to the district. Onto the industrial and manufacturing zone that goes by Santo Domingo. It holds power plants, industrial factories, and is practically Night City's battery. It's what powers the city itself. And then we got Watson, which holds a variety of different Asian cultures. It's a fallen corporate giant now, populated mostly by immigrants, hiding various markets in condensed alleyways. And finally, we have Haywood, which is predominantly occupied by Latinos. It's a suburban housing district that has some major gang problems. Number 33, you can leave the city. So there are explorable locations outside the city, although the meat of the game takes place within Night City itself, and that is where the majority of the story will be located, but the player does have the option to explore outside of the city within reason. Number 34, vertical exploration. Now, in comparison to The Witcher 3, which was massive and had some large open spaces, Night City is explored vertically via large buildings with multiple floors, and the first person perspective helps emphasize the large scale buildings and detailed interiors. So making comparisons to The Witcher in terms of the size of the world is almost impossible because they're explored in different ways. Number 35, temporary companions. So we will be introduced to a number of companions that can accompany V on specific missions. They'll help out in combat, give feedback in regards to how to approach certain situations, and affect dialogue to some extent. And Jackie and T-Bug are good examples, although they will not be permanently by V's side. They will only be available when it's necessary for the narrative. Number 36, discount. So V can receive specific discounts from vendors after a number of visits, or for helping rip her docks or other connections within the city, offering her a loyalty discount of 10% of all items. Number 37, fluid mission approach. So missions and side quests can be approached in a variety of different ways, through dialogue choices at the beginning of particular missions, and then they can be affected by your own personal playstyle choices too. Number 38, combat styles and a cover system. So the game will have a mixture of different combat options. We have melee, powers, explosives, range combat, and even combat stimulants. They grant additional bonuses such as increasing reflexes, and they also have a smooth cover system. If you ADS when next to a wall or prop, you'll aim over or around that obstruction, while if you release ADS, V will remain in cover. We also seemingly have characters that are capable of dual wielding weapons in the world. Jackie can be seen holding 2 pistols behind cover during the assault on the scavengers, so here's hoping that's also an option for V, but that remains to be seen. Number 40, melee weapons. Our main character later in the game will have the option of using mantis blades, which allows her to tactically climb walls and slice her enemies, and katana blades are also a thing that are capable of deflecting oncoming bullets, allowing for a cyber ninja type playthrough. And the game will have a range of different pistols, shotguns, rifles that can be either tech, power, or smart weapons. So let's go over them now. Number 41, tech weapons. So tech weapons focus primarily on wall penetration, piercing NPCs' armor and other objects. And they also have an alternate firing option, which allows the player to charge up shots before firing for some extra damage and spread, e.g. the tech grade shotgun known as the blunderbuss. Number 42, smart weapons. So these are unaffected by the player's skill level or attributes, as they can auto-lock and target an enemy with homing bullets. These weapons in particular are more aimed at casual gamers that just want to experience the story. Number 43, power weapons. So these are similar to the traditional weapons we have nowadays, high impact guns that are capable of staggering bigger targets. Number 44, weapon customization. So weapon modules can change the way weapons handle. These modules can be anything from tech, smart, or power. So you can acquire a tech pistol but replace the current module so it can then become a power or smart pistol if you want. And during the gameplay showing, we see an example with this, with the ricocheted targeting system being put onto V's pistol, which allows players to bounce bullets off walls to hit targets behind cover. Number 45, ammo types. So we and enemies seemingly have access to different ammo types such as physical, thermal, EMP, and chemical. Number 46. So right now V has 4 weapon slots available, which allows you to switch in and out different weapons quickly depending on the combat scenario. Number 47, clothing bonuses. So clothing can offer stat bonuses. As an example, the samurai jacket can offer V an increase in street cred obtained. Number 48, NPCs react. So some NPCs will casually react to clothes and V's appearance. If you look cool, people will make a comment. Your tattoos, hairstyles, outfits, and even augmentations and weapons and so on will be commented on. They will also react organically to the day and night cycle and different weather effects that happen throughout the city. Number 49, damage dealt numbers. So during combat, we will witness numbers above the heads of whomever we're shooting. This represents the damage we're dealing to that specific target. Number 50, optional HUD elements. So these damage numbers and other HUD elements will be optional and can be changed or turned off in the options menu. Number 51, the HUD evolves. So through different upgrades in Cyberware, the HUD can evolve and advance with your character. Number 52, RPG first. So although this is a first-person shooter to a large extent, it promises to be an RPG first and foremost, with a strong focus on a compelling story, and promises to be a very character-driven story too. Number 53, health regeneration. So health regeneration right now is a thing in the game, although who knows if a higher difficulty changes that and removes health regeneration as an option. Number 54, biomonitors. So like I mentioned before, each character in the game has a biomonitor, which netrunners can hack into and receive some information regarding that person, their name, age, body type, gender, etc. We can also acquire important details regarding that person's associates, their factions, and even weaknesses, which can offer minor to major combat advantages later in the game. Number 55, combat boosters. So V can take boosters that offer temporary bonuses to her attributes, e.g. a reflex booster that gives her the Kraskanov ability, which basically slows down time and allows V to maneuver around the battlefield with ease and dodge oncoming bullets. And the game has a range of boosters to fit your playstyle. Number 56, slang. So the Cyberpunk universe has a deep history and massive range of slang words that are used to describe very specific things in the world. As an example, chipping in means to buy cyberware for the first time or connect to a machine, and the world is filled with terms like this, which we'll learn as we go. But here is a massive list of potential words we could see in the game. Number 57, different languages. So Night City is massively multicultural, and certain factions will speak a particular language. As an example, the scavengers during the demo can be heard speaking Russian, and we also hear some Japanese and Chinese as V walk down the streets. Number 58, a language translator. So during the story, V will need specific augmentations or chips that can translate and ensure she can understand specific Night City residents or characters. Number 59, extra lore. So characters from Cyberpunk 2020 and other forms of lore regarding the world of Cyberpunk will make appearances throughout the game, although some of this lore may be altered to some extent to fit into CD Projekt Red's vision and the story that they're trying to tell. Number 60, some augmentations will be forced. So as of right now, a purist 100% human run is not possible in the game. The story requires specific augmentations in order to advance, although theoretically you can attempt to limit how much cyberware you install by rejecting any augmentations outside of the main story. So any of you guys want to play as full human, right now that's not an option. Number 61, humanity cost. So every piece of cyberware has a humanity cost. When visiting a Ripper dock, you'll view the human cost it requires, with basic cybernetics costing 2 humanity, with the more advanced and complex cybernetics having more benefits but a larger humanity cost. So it's your choice what way you want to take it. Number 62, no iRobot. So cyber psychosis is a thing in the game, and it's known as Hexed. It's a mental illness caused by adding too much technology to your body. You'll see this in the gameplay demo, which can cause the character to lose their sense of humanity and what it means to be a person, yet you cannot go full robot with V. CD Projekt Red have taken that away from the player because they ultimately have a story to tell, and it would affect the narrative too drastically if the character was filled with augmentations. Number 63, scanner and limb modifications. So through slight progression in the game, V is equipped with an optical scanner which collects data on objects or NPCs we happen to target, which will give the threat level, damage type, and weak spots. It can also analyze vehicles, and then modifications to limbs allow players to jump higher with a double jump, move faster, climb walls, and take more damage, etc. Number 64, NPCs. The player cannot kill just any NPC you choose. The game story is very character driven, so some NPCs are essential to the story and cannot be killed unless it's necessary for the narrative, which may come in the form of some boss fights involving these established characters. Number 65, so items found in the world are rated from 1 star to 5, and you'll be capable of finding rare weapons in the world via exploration and for completing missions. Right now they have a color to represent their rarity. These weapons will be named, such as the Vindicator pistol and V's apartment. Number 66, stats for nerds. So weapons also have a range of statistics that are viewable before picking them up. These stats range from damage per second, penetration, accuracy, recoil, spread, range. Number 67, auto-equipped. So when looking at a weapon, you can simply press X on Xbox One to pick that weapon up, or Y to equip it right then and there. Number 68, V's apartments. So you will have the option of owning multiple apartments throughout Night City as you progress throughout the game. Options to switch out your weapons and clothing are also located in V's apartment, as well as access to a computer and other activities. sexual activities. Speaking of which, number 69, currency. So the currency in the game goes by the name eddies, which is a slang term for Euro dollars. Number 70, Pimp My Ride. So character customization is a thing, although the specific options have yet to be shared by CD Projekt Red, and car destructibility is seen in the gameplay demo, and will also have the option to steal other vehicles. You're not just limited to the one. Number 71, types of vehicles. So motorcycles are also available in Night City alongside armoured SUVs, sport and supercars which run on Chew-2, the super fuel of the future. And vehicles also have different driving modes, an autopilot and what seems to be a rear drive or manual drive. Number 72, flying personnel carriers are in Night City, although if flying cars can be used by the player, it remains to be seen. As the developers fear, the player would skip over a lot of what Night City has to offer, like missable side missions, if they're given access to flying vehicles. Also from a design perspective, it's quite difficult to have these vehicles maneuver around the city. Number 73, vehicle combat. So combat while driving is an option. If V has a companion in her passenger seat, she will lean out the car door window, allowing you to aim down sight or hip fire at your target. If she's driving without a passenger, we can assume switching to autopilot allows V to freely shoot. Number 74, morality. So there is no arbitrary morality meter for Cyberpunk 27. Unlike Red Dead Redemption 2's honor system or Mass Effect's Renegade and Paragon system, they're aiming for a more organic way of representing morality by having your choices affect those you interact with. Similar to The Witcher 3, with sometimes seemingly noble choices have an immediate good impact on the player, yet hours later it turns out to have dire consequences. So the good choice isn't always an option in this world of Cyberpunk. Number 75, mission guides. Your activated main or side missions will be highlighted on the top right of your screen alongside some optional objectives regarding those missions, and the distance from each objective will also be represented by small waypoints on your screen. Number 76, so throughout your time in Night City, based on your main and side story choices, the game will throw some random encounters at you throughout the world as you free roam and travel from A to B. Number 77, mega buildings. So the game has mega buildings, which almost work as small towns within one huge building, and each floor will house a variety of different activities, cultures, and characters that you can meet. And CD Projekt Red have stated they took major inspiration from Dread in designing these mega buildings. Number 78, open and closed buildings. So you cannot enter every single building in the game. From their perspective, there's no way of filling every building with interesting content, so buildings will be closed off if they have no purpose in regards to the story. Number 79, handmade. So the world has been manually built by hand. Nothing in the world has been procedurally generated. So expect some major attention to detail, just like the Witcher series. Number 80, ad pop-up. So advertisements in-game will tailor towards the player. So if you're a cybernetics guy, then you will receive some cyberware ads, while the example used in the gameplay demo involved Nicola Soda. And interacting with the ad will point you towards the nearest vendor or machine in which you can acquire it. Number 81, playable platforms. So the game will be on Xbox One, PlayStation 4, and of course PC as well. 82, photo mode. So they have also stated that they are planning on including a photo mode in the game, which is becoming increasingly popular in the gaming industry as of late. Next up is no loading. So after the initial loading screen to start up the game, there will be no further loading screens unless you happen to die in combat. Number 84, side quests affect the main story. So the dialogue choices in Cyberpunk are completely gameplay driven, and choices made during missions and side gigs will echo throughout your playthrough and have some minor and major consequences. Also, dialogue is very interactive. Pulling out your gun or focusing your attention away from the character that's talking could lead to different reactions from those characters. Number 85, some quests can be failed. So if you happen to fail an objective during a specific side mission, you will not receive a game over state. That only occurs if you happen to die during that mission. So if you fail a side quest, it's now part of your story and it might come back to bite you. So just like every RPG, save before every quest, my dudes. Pro tip. Number 86, calling in. So important contacts that are met throughout the world can be called at any time for further information or to fill in characters about how a specific mission went. 87, obtaining missions. So missions can be obtained in a variety of different ways, from listening into conversations from NPCs, talking to characters directly, or calling V's personal contacts. 88, factions. Now although Night City is home of numerous different gangs, such as the Maelstrom Gang, the Valentinos or the Scavengers, and corporations such as Arasaka, Militech, Trauma Team, and so on. V and the player will not be able to permanently join any of these factions. She may work with them for her own personal reasons and agendas, but ultimately it won't be possible to join them on a permanent basis, although you may lean towards specific groups via choices and form some connections. Number 89. So dismembering limbs is possible. You can shoot off limbs of enemies' bodies, and some enemies can lose a leg or an arm, yet continue fighting and talking. If you shoot someone's arm off, they may shoot back with the remaining hand. Number 90, non-lethal takedown. So during stealth, you will have the option of non-lethal or lethal takedowns, depending on how nice you're feeling really. Number 91, there is no option of a pacifist playthrough. Although you're capable of non-lethal takedowns, you will not be able to complete the entire game with a non-lethal approach. You may be rewarded with an additional dialogue option, being quiet and stealthy, but quote, Cyberpunk is a brutal world, so you will definitely have to fight in the game. You will not finish the whole game without killing. Number 92, lifting body. So after knocking out or killing a target via stealth, takedown, holding in the right analog stick allows V to pick up that specific target, and X immediately loots or takes whatever money, ammo, or equipment that person is holding. Number 93, voice by. So our female protagonist is voiced by Jeremy Leah. She has played small roles in games such as Horizon Zero Dawn, Call of Duty World War II, and Gage in Borderlands 2, while Josh Keaton is highly rumoured to be the voice of male V, although that's unconfirmed. Number 94, one night only. So in Cyberpunk, our leading character will have a selection of one night stands. And number 95, so alongside one night stands, there will be a selection of romance options to choose from, although there will be a small range of people to romance similar to The Witcher 3, as they want these relationships to be as fleshed out and as meaningful as possible. Number 96, swing either way. So you will also have the option to pursue homosexual relationships if that's the road you personally want to take your character, and NPCs in the world will have their own personal preferences too. Number 97, full nudity. So Cyberpunk will have full nudity, which is widely apparent during the gameplay demo. It's very clear. And the world itself will have prostitutes in the form of joy boys and joy girls, which seemingly can be ordered via vending machines. Yet to what extent in which they can be interacted with, it's one way of putting it, we haven't seen. Number 98, animals. So the only confirmed animals thus far are cats and dogs, which will be seen on public streets and throughout the city. But in regards to having them as pets, there's no word on that. Number 99, some environmental destructibility. So there will be at least a small form of destructibility. Shooting through walls is one that we've seen in the demo, although to what extent we can damage environments remains to be seen. Number 100, I can feel me getting more and more Irish as the video goes on. The core of the game is finished, so the game, as of late August 2018, is completely playable from the beginning until the end of the story. So as of now, they're hashing out bugs, adding other content, and refining the world itself. Number 101, no one likes hearing this as an RPG fan, but online. So multiplayer is in the works, although in June of 2018 it was stated it was in the R&D phase. And it seems quite likely we won't see multiplayer at launch. Regardless, they have promised it's independent from the single player and won't take away from that experience, which I think most RPG fans are thinking thank fuck. Number 102, political themes. So Patrick Mills at CD Projekt Red stated that the game will have underlining political messages. Cyberpunk is relevant in today's climate. Quote, it's a place that is very critical of the world in which we live in interesting and complex ways. We hope we can get that across to the player. So Cyberpunk will touch on specific aspects of society in which they seem to be predominantly negative and could do with a little mention. Number 103, animation has evolved since Witcher 3. So the development team's lead cinematic animator stated, we have a completely new animation system. We completely changed the approach to handling animations. We have a better mocap studio, and we have a new way of generating lip sync and animation when people are talking, and we have a completely new approach to creating environments. So instead of working on a huge world at once, we are creating prefabs, which are then adjusted and placed differently, so everything is scalable. But alright guys, that is the end of the video. Although remember, everything shown in the gameplay demo and information released by CD Projekt Red, which I'm using right now, is still subject to change. But that's everything I could find on the game. But I have a question for you guys. Are you going with a male or female protagonist, and what class are you going to build towards? Netrunner, solo, or techie? So let me know so I can see who made it this far, because this is one long ass video. Shout out to whoever made it this far. Whenever we get more information from CD Projekt Red with worthwhile news, do expect another facts video. So that could be honestly closer to launch, which is either late 2019 or 2020, which seems more realistic. But until then, that's all I got in regards to Cyberpunk. So for more content like this, stay tuned here on AAA Digest. Later guys, bye bye.